Today's video is once you stop needing people, you're going to realize that you never even wanted them around. And this comes for people leaving narcissistic relationships or families, Shamanic Healing Series part, because it's basically saying, like, these people are crutching you on purpose because they know that the value sits inside you, bro. And if they know that, bro, and they know they can't generate that on their own, they need to keep you believing that you need them, bro, or you're waiting for their validation, and they'll just never give it to you. And the second you realize that, you know what, like, dude, you don't add any value to my life or my circumstance. Like, fuck you. The second you realize that and start acting on that, bro, then they have to find new supply, bro. And they have to show you that all you were there for was to be used and exploited. Or they have to tell you how they really feel. And that's literally the same exact thing. So remember that. Sometimes you got to separate yourself to elevate yourself. That was going to be another video, but I guess that plays into this one. Alrighty. Alright. Welcome back to another episode of Dark Wizard's Dungeon. Or just welcome back to the Dark Wizard's Dungeon. This is an episode of the Shamanic Healing Series. Because, you know, we have so many things going on at once. It may be overwhelming for you. For me, it's just my daily life. So, not like I'm better than anybody or anything. But hopefully, you know, maybe a little change of scenery. There's new trees in the background. You're going to have to get used to these because this is around the library I like to kick it at. So, before we start this episode, haven't done this in a while, but I want to just share my appreciation for you guys and just for believing in me, for showing me love, for continuing to show up here after leaving TikTok when TikTok got deleted for however many hours it was. Sadly, I deleted it off my phone, so I'm not going to be able to be posting on that consistently anymore. My bad. You'll see it. But I just want to say, share some gratitude, you know, and just remind you guys or let you guys know if you don't know how thankful I am to be creating this community, to lead this new consciousness, and to have so many just cool people that I don't think I would have ever met if I never started this journey, to be either mutuals with me, in my space now, connected with me, just all super cool stuff that's been a consequence of me just going all in on the journey that I was so afraid to start. So if you needed some kind of fucking inspiration or motivation, let this be it. I'm glad 2025 is really the year that I'm not becoming anymore necessarily. I know I speak a lot about you're constantly in this process of becoming, which is true, but I've decided that I am. The things that I want to be now, I am, and I'm in the process of showing the world that I am those things, rather than trying to become those things and still subconsciously hoping that I can be validated on that path by the world so I can, you know, accept myself. Because as much as I am the dude's doing figure eights in this motherfucker, as much as I am the spokesperson. See, now I even forgot what I said, but I'm going to get back to this. Okay, I figured out what the title was. So, before we get into the video, obviously, Starving Artist is going to do a little self-promo, so forgive me. If you don't have any money in your pocket, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to get us through the algorithm, because you know YouTube hates black people. But we'll change that in 2025, hopefully. And if we can't, it doesn't matter, because we have other avenues to where we can contribute to this channel and building this brand, the Dark Wizard Dungeon. So if you want to check out our Patreon link, you can check that out. Bunch of cool stuff on there. If you want to see, if you don't, it's cool. Check out Cosmic Nomads Rebel Souls. You could rep some of the gear that we're repping. And you could represent the brand in your real life. I might have to brand that because I know somebody's going to try to steal it from me. Represent your real life. Maybe I'll just start rapping. Whatever. But if you don't want to do either of those, I don't want to keep on just bogging you down with things that I'm producing. So I'll just let you be a part of the community for now. And if you want to just kind of hang out in the back of the classroom and do what you do, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, figure out if this is a community you want to be in, then we're glad to have you here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to focus your attention here rather than on any of the AI slop that Meta and Elon are feeding you guys. Other than that, again, I forgot the title of the video. So I'm going to go back at the title of the video, and that is going to just inspire all the creative juices that are this free-flowing rant, and we'll get a good video out for you guys. So thank you for being here. Pat yourselves on the back for showing up to class today, and I'll be back with you guys in a cutscene. So again, I went back and I figured out what I was talking about. So you know me to be the dark wizard, not just the wizard, the dark wizard, because we have to really face our darkness and face our demons and find a way to integrate the lessons that we learn from those into our fullness, like our full being, so we aren't hindered by our own ignorance and our own lack of responsibility in the life that we're trying to live. Because at the end of the day, we can only dream so much. We can only have all these ideas and these concepts so much in our heads and our brains before they start to haunt us, because they even are pitted up against the expectation of actualization, of being put out into the world, seen in the world, felt in the world, received in the world. So we're going to focus on something that's going to resonate a lot with maybe, I'm not sure, my neurodivergence, but definitely those people who have been in narcissistic relationships or coming out of narcissistic family systems, black sheep, scapegoats. Fuck with me. So the title of this video that I had, but really just the conversation I'm trying to have with you guys, is once you stop needing people, you're going to realize a majority of them you never even wanted around in the first place. Now, I was somebody who had like 2 narcissistic parents, and we could even go further down than that. But I was like isolated in that family system and in that house, apart from the validation that I had potential to receive outside of it. So I was thinking that the whole entire life that I was living, everything that I did, everything that I was a means of gaining the validation or truly the acceptance of these parents that I had, that I was too naive to understand, but also a child. So how the fuck are you supposed to teach yourself? I was too naive to understand, never had the intention of giving me that validation. But putting me on this hamster wheel of chasing the validation by doing a bunch of meaningless tasks that more times than not complemented them getting validation, to a point where I'm completely depleted of my energy, my life force to invest in my own self, giving it to somebody who should be giving it to me, giving it to somebody who is, or more times than not, promising me this illusion of compensation or reciprocation, but I'm the only one that's being depleted of my energy for somebody else's actualization or somebody else's priority. And I was raised to be a people pleaser. I was like totally raised to be a people pleaser. And I think it wasn't only being raised to be a people pleaser, but it was knowing that because I wasn't getting like the acceptance or the validation from home, I was clinging so much to any of that which I could get from the outside world, whether it was through athletics, it was through school, it was through just any outside activities, through relationships sometimes, if you even want to call those relationships. And that's no hate to nobody that I've been in a relationship with. This is all to me and my like complete unknowing of the working world. And it's difficult to see that not only was I so depleted and apart from myself at home because of how much my parents were putting me on a hamster wheel to almost be parentified in a sense, to take care of their emotions and their desires before my own. And then out in the world, because I knew I still wanted acceptance and validation, I was depleting myself and burning out even more, people pleasing for other people, hoping that somebody in this whole world experience that I was so lost in would accept me and validate me in a light that I could see myself in and like actually align with. And all of it was just me just running so far away from myself, chasing what only something that I can give myself, or something I could only give myself. And that's a lot of that leads into the reason why I decided to go no contact with my parents. And, maybe that decision will change in the future. Maybe that decision, but it's like, genuinely speaking, this is me as an adult looking at other people who had been adults all the way through my childhood and being able to address children like that when you're the grown adult. And I had to figure this out as an adult while attempting to nurture and care for the inner child that I was, but the child I will never be anymore. Yeah, a lot of that leads into the decision-making process of that. And of course, because narcissists love to center themselves and their own well-being at the mercy of literally anybody else's actual life, they'll never be able to understand that or to receive that in the sense that, like, hey, you know what? Maybe you needed to stop centering yourself for like 1 second to see that you're a parent and it's your responsibility, like your lifelong responsibility, to not only raise but to care for a child enough to support themselves in becoming a functioning adult. You're not birthing a parent. Before I keep going on that rant, I apologize. I'm going to start getting like way too direct. Maybe I should save some of that for a therapist. But it's me in my adulthood. A lot of this conversation, or wanting to have this conversation, is coming from a place of me reaching adulthood and realizing, like, damn, not only are a lot of the foundations that I should have had, not only were they just non-existent, like whatsoever, but it almost feels like I was set up to fail so I could revert back to codependency, but like almost self-determined codependency back onto my parents, so it didn't look like it's me, or it's like them forcibly sabotaging my opportunities in life to achieve independence. And it could look like it's me just being a lazy fuck up who never does anything right in my life and never completes anything and never finishes anything and doesn't do anything that I say I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to choose to like lay there and mooch like some loser and never do anything with my life because everything that I just said prior. It's just like, it's so sickening to me that narcissistic abuse, like, and that's why, like, as a self-proclaimed intellect, narcissistic abuse is just something that I had to dig so deep in study-wise, especially like even beyond my own healing journey, because it's so purely psychotic that once it gets into somebody's, like, not even their brain, once it gets into somebody's soul, that lack of human empathy and full servitude of the conditional ego, or the mask, really. Once that takes over somebody's soul and just fucking masks their mind and their eyes, it doesn't matter who the victim is. Anybody can be supply, anybody can be exploited to sustain the mask and sustain the narcissist. And it's just purely disgusting. Whether it's intimate partners, it's children, it's elderly people in your family, it's anybody can be at the mercy of this shit. And the more that I even studied it, not to get too far off the point I'm trying to give, but the more I even study it every day, really, the more I realized this is not even just like a psychological abuse type disorder or whatever. This is a spiritual, like, energetic issue, real deal issue that has embedded itself in so many aspects of our society that it can almost never be cured by the systems of our society or the institutions of this society, because the way our society is organized is for the well-being and the dominance of narcissists. So go ahead and wake up and like leave the narcissist you're in a relationship with, or you're in like living within your house. Our society is built for not only the well-being of them, but the protection of them, at the mercy of anybody who calls them out, which is people like you probably and me. Let me find out where I was here, and then we're going to get back to the main point of this video. So when I decided to go no contact, and mind you, this has been a years-long process. When I decided to go no contact, it was really just to give myself a break, honestly, from realizing that like I had no home to go back to. It was just going out into the battlefield that was the real world, and then coming back home to the battlefield that was home. And then it was just like, where do I even have to stay? And mind you, we'll get into other conversations about that Disney lore at some point, but not today. Going no contact, I needed to just separate myself to see, like, is what these people saying about me, are what they projecting, is that real? Like, is this a real observation, or is this a pure projection trying to get me to almost take responsibility of their flaws while they get to take responsibility of all the greatness that I am? And mind you, I know that may sound cocky, but think about it from a situation where a narcissist is preying on the real value. And they have to manipulate, which is probably the explanation I wanted to get to. The narcissist has to manipulate the value in the relationship to hate themselves, or to be so apart from accepting themselves that they can only accept themselves if the narcissist accepts them or allows them acceptance of the self. And the narcissist realizes how much they can benefit, almost as much as owning the person, through this validation, by just neglecting giving the validation. And a lot of these like sick ass dating, like sick isn't bad, not sick isn't cool, like nasty narcissistic, I believe, dating coaches, they say this thing called feed 'em scraps. Guys use it in the red pill community, and it's almost like love bomb a girl and then just slowly start to just basically feed her scraps, like pull back the love that you're showing to a point where you're depriving of sustenance to starve this person that you're in a relationship with, to make them want you more, I'm assuming, because these people don't know what it's like to just wake up every day and be loved and appreciated for who they are beyond what they can provide to their partners in relationship. They have to constantly remind themselves that they own their partner for the fear of losing them, which is narcissistic in itself, and you probably shouldn't be in a relationship if you think like that. And usually this process is perpetuated by enmeshment. And this is what you guys may see it as, like love bombing, but it's not necessarily love bombing for the sake of like, I love you, so I'm doing this to you. I'm overly loving you so you can see how much I love you. This is like malicious intent loving and accommodating, truly, for the sake of bringing you as close as possible, thinking like, oh, because I'm letting you in, or I'm allowing you this close into my space, I value you, or I'm showing you things that I don't show other people, so I care about you more than them, and I'm allowing you so close to me, and I'm giving you all this attention and affection and care, and oh my goodness, everything is always good all the time, honeymoon phase 24/7. They get you there to make sure that you can trust how close you are, to not trust the flaws that you'll inevitably see, and which will be red flags and good reasons to leave that kind of relationship or that kind of situation. So, and it doesn't just have to be intimate partners or relationships here. It can be literally your parents. Like, narcissistic families are all enmeshed, like tight together, tight knit, as a means of one. Oh my goodness, look at this little birdie. Did you see that? But narcissistic families are quite literally enmeshed, in the sense that they are not tight-knit because they genuinely care about each other. Because this is one thing you're going to have to realize. Healthy relationships have boundaries, and the people in those relationships respect the boundaries of their partners and trust that the people are respectful within those boundaries to said relationship. Narcissistic people don't trust anybody they're in a relationship with. They have to make sure that they own or control every single circumstance and potential opportunity in said relationship to protect themselves for how they're going to react, or protect the partner for how they're going to react. Which probably is just like one and the same thing. But what I'm trying to say here specifically is the narcissist is going to enmesh you to make sure that you feel, even though you are probably being invalidated, abused, traumatized, disrespected, they're going to make you feel, oh, well, that's all the things that come with love. That's all the things that come with me caring about you this much. Because nobody else is going to care about you this much. And if you want somebody to care about you this much, then you have to be willing to also take this much pain and struggle and suffering, because nobody's going to commit to you like this. And it's like that give or take bullshit, bro. And mind you, again, I keep on saying this doesn't only have to do with intimate relationships. Parents be doing this too, bro. Narcissistic parents do this shit too. And even worse, narcissistic parents do this to their gifted children. Let me give you a interesting scenario here that may make sense for a lot of you, especially because I have a lot of women, especially beautiful women, in my audience, and they may resonate with this. Your mom, beautiful women, you are a beautiful woman. Your mom was either a beautiful woman before she had you, or was never a beautiful woman. You are a beautiful woman. And that is recognizable, either in how you're treated, how, it sounds weird saying it like this, but like how your dad looks at you. And it's not like in an intimate sense, but in like a, you are now the prize and not your mother anymore. Not like a, I want you now. But the jealousy of not being centered anymore from a narcissistic mother is invigorated when the daughter carries the gift that the mother thought allowed her access to being humanized. So now the mother thinks, just as she was finally humanized for having beauty or having access to this one trait that she was picked for and accepted for, now she's had that taken away from her. Not like she's, oh, age is going to decay the human body, or like you don't take care of yourself in a way that like you're actually accommodated. Not blaming you for that. But you, as a narcissist, not being able to take responsibility for your own personal circumstances and what you can control, will reject or revert that responsibility onto the daughter who carries beauty, by either saying that beauty came from me and you stole it from me, or saying, I don't want to see you happy and successful and free beyond the circumstances that I made and the choices that I made in my life, because being able to sabotage your opportunities at freedom or a new life is just as good, or it's not even just as good. It's the return that you get for taking my beauty away from me, from taking my gift away from me. So when you are like starting to date and starting to like, boys are starting to approach you and whatnot, like I'm not going to help you with any of that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you certain things that you need to know when you're going out or when you're taking care of yourself or doing this. Like, I don't want you to do this, or when like I'm punishing you, I'm not going to punish you in direct relationship to what you did wrong. I'm going to punish you beyond that, because what you did wrong is just an opportunity for me to punish you because I hate you. And every single thing that you do wrong is an opportunity for me to punish you because I hate you, not because I genuinely want you to learn from the consequence that I'm about to deal with you. And that's a scary, scary, scary part about having to address that narcissism shit, especially in relationships that you don't actually have a way out of, because you're realizing that this isn't even about you. Like, yeah, it may be about the supply that you give or how gifted you are, but their pain and their issue, it's got nothing to do with you. You are literally just food to them, to an infinite belly that does not have a bottom. And you are the only person that can wake up from this situation to realize what you need to do. Get up and leave. That's the, but it's just, it's so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming for so many of us, because the narcissist in our life crutches us to think that we can't take care of ourselves by our own decision making, one. And even worse, The narcissist crutches us by not even allowing us the opportunity to learn how to be self-sufficient or to take care of ourselves. So the only thing that we have reinforced is going out there, trying to do something on our own, fucking up like crazy, and then coming back to the codependent relationship that we think is our salvation, but it isn't. The only reason we think it is because it's the only thing that's there after we inevitably fuck up in life for not being taught how to actually live it. Or really not even being allowed to live it. For those of you in narcissistic relationships who are just like kept inside the house all day, or not allowed to dress how you want, not allowed to wear what you want, do what you want, like, but we're gonna, let me just put this down here. I apologize, my hand's shaking a little bit, but that's because, you know, super yapper over here. So this is really why, and not the only reason, but a lot of the reason why I make so much of the content that I do. And I'm even making a handful of little like guides and ebooks to go along with it. But this is why I speak so much about developing that relationship with your inner awareness and your inner self beyond the circumstances that you've been placed in or given in your current reality. Because for many of us, the family that we came here with, it's not the family that we're supposed to be with. Or truly, it's not the family that can support us in a way that would allow us to be the fullness of who we are, or just who we genuinely came here to be. And that's okay, because for many of us, recognizing that is a part of our journey, and addressing that is a part of our journey. That's called breaking generational curses. For many of us, that's a majority of what we came here to do. Not just breaking that, but creating new foundations and new systems for a new way beyond us. We don't have to become trillionaires and conquer every country and go do this and have a museum in our backyard and 700 concubines. It's, for many of us, it's just deciding that we are the last people in our bloodline that are going to live the way that our ancestors, our predecessors have chosen to live. Because we know that we are more than that. We know that we deserve more than that, and we know that we are better than that. And it's not a means of knocking the people who didn't have the means of choosing better circumstances. This is just a means of knowing that with the awareness that we have, with the relationship that we develop with ourselves and our dreams and our desires, we're setting forth a completely different path. And that requires different choices, and that requires different circumstances. So that's what we're willing to change, bro. I know I'm going to be using a lot of C words, but something tells me that C is a very spiritual letter. So you guys are going to have to get that. That bird that was just posted up right here is not singing at me right now. So hopefully that means something. Hopefully that means something. But we're probably wrapping up the end of this video here. I'm just kind of letting my brain go like on a freestyle. But I really want to make sure that you guys are getting the points of this video as much as I speak, because I know how long these videos are. But once you realize that you don't need these people anymore, or you finally broken the illusion in your brain that was probably reinforced by trauma or by like what they indoctrinated you to believe, you don't need them. And especially if you're growing into an adult, like as an adult, no, you don't need these other people. That was when you were a child, you needed them. When you're hurt and when you're ill, you need them. They are supporting you. And I'm not saying that you don't need people, but this is for people who have issues with codependency, especially people who are highly empathetic, my autistic people, my neurodivergent people. We like to think that these feelings of infinite, like of really deep desire and need and attachment are like positive things. But then we only think that until they become too unhealthy for us to end up like walking out of, unscathed at least. So I'm asking you to truly say, like, who are you beyond the relationships that you need? And how are those relationships that you need complementing your ability to serve that? Because what happens when they need you? Are you able to stand on your 2 feet to support them in the ways that they are supporting you? Because if you can't stand on your own 2 feet, if they falter, if something happens to them, then maybe they're crutching you so you never leave them. And they can constantly use you, but not even use you, but the energy that you are to complement the desires that they have. Because they know without you, especially without you rejecting yourself, they will never be able to tap deep enough within them to access the gifts that you have or the divine nature that you are. So they need you, and they need you to keep invalidating yourself. They need you to keep believing that you can't be okay without them. They need you to keep believing that you are nothing without the validation that they give you. They need you to keep thinking that you aren't the greatness that you are unless they give it to you or recognize it in you, or without the fact that you were born to them. That's the thing a lot of us struggle with. And hopefully this video, I don't know if it'll heal, but hopefully this video helps, like, in the least, especially for those of us who are stagnant on our journey chasing our dreams, because a lot of this plays into that too. For a lot of my journey, I was just stuck in a place waiting for somebody to care, all the way until I realized that truly I didn't really give a fuck if the world cared or not. I wanted the people, like I wanted my narcissistic parents, I wanted them to care about how much they hurt me, about how much they took from me, deprived from me in this life, about how difficult they made it to just not only not be a kid, but to be an adult. In a world where it's the most difficult era to be an adult in, especially a young adult, in a world where there's no job opportunities. They just rolled back all the fucking human rights. Everyone's in debt. Nobody has healthcare. It's like everyone's fucked, bro. And in the hardest generation to be a young person, you're blaming a kid for not being a superhero, bro, and you don't support them. Like, I don't know what kind of fucking adults you think you are, bro. And we don't even live in a world where, like, I can sit here and say, you know what, all the intelligence that I feel like I've amassed in the past however many couple of years, this is all attributed to me. And in spite of all the negative reinforcement and the verbal abuse and the negativity, bro, that was just projected onto me, and the insecurity, and not only the insecurity, but the inability to comprehend this intellect projected into me, making me confused about myself, making me hate myself, making me hate having this brain and living this life and being so different in a world where I constantly had to humble my differences to be accepted by other people who weren't like me. And the worst part of it all, I didn't even want to be like any of these niggas I was hanging out with. But I was so craving validation. I was so hungry for acceptance and for validation that I was willing to put myself anywhere and do damn near anything, bro, to get that validation, not knowing how conditional it was, because I was going to have to keep on doing more and more and more trying to get it, not knowing that I could just wake up every single day and give that to myself and then appreciate the people who chose to give me that validation alongside that in my everyday life, without any expectation of needing people to accept me to keep me going in this life. Because that would have made my journey a lot easier, knowing I could wake up and accept myself in spite of the world and keep going, rather than wait for the world to accept me to start going at all. And it's just, and the more time I spend out of these like narcissistic relationships and situations, because that's where I had a handful of narcissistic situations come up after going no contact. And I think that was just a means to show me, hey, I have to work on my relationship with myself before I start one with any of these people anymore, because I'll fall right back into my same habits and same traps. It's just like I realized, damn, when I don't need you, like I don't even fucking like you, bro. And I don't want people, especially people in my old life, because people in my old life be lurking like a motherfucker and they don't be helping at all. Don't be buying no Cosmic Nomad. Don't be in no Patreon. Don't be in no comment section. Don't be doing nothing but just sharing my videos to other niggas and talking shit. I hope you be touching yourselves when you do that shit, you fuck niggas. I hate you too. But this isn't really attributed at anybody necessarily in my past life, other than my parents, really, because that's just the root cause of everything. And I'm leaving the responsibility of that with them so I can fully pursue the journey that is my life. and my dreams, actualizing all that. But I'm getting a little lost here. Trying to get back to the point. I just like I really realized, okay, I know where I was lost at. This isn't like a direct hit at anybody. That's why I'm not saying anybody's name, because really, like, nobody in my life, even if you consider yourself to be a bully or a friend or an acquaintance or whatever, it's in my life, like, nobody was as bad as what my parents put me through, bro. Nobody was as bad as that. That shit was fucking military boot camp hell fucking week. Hell week for your whole damn life. So it's just like, and at the end of the day, like, it's like coming out of all that, bro, and then basically coming out of prison because you get dropped out, fucking punted out of the facility, and there's nobody out there to help you. And not even that, everybody hates you because you broke up the perfect illusion of a family, and everybody hates you even more because now everyone has to validate why you left without saying that it's because of the immense trauma that you went through. So they just have to say you're a crazy lunatic fuck nigga, and everybody like should not trust you and not support you while you're building yourself up from nothing. Like, I'm telling you, narcissistic abuse is the devil, bro. And I feel like, hey, I'm not God's strongest soldier, but I definitely came here with some fucking wings on my back, willing to fucking slay some of these narcissistic dragons while I'm in this life, bro. I tell you that right now, because I did not come here to put up with that bullshit. I don't care who the fuck it's coming from, bro. And maybe that's just the autism in me, not being able to really divvy up my loyalties, but no, I don't put up with that bullshit nowhere no more, bro. And that's something I'm gonna have to heal. Something I'm gonna have to heal, work on healing. But I'm glad though. I'm glad that the issues that I was struggling with, they just happen to be. It's almost like a lot of the stress in my life and the anxiety that I was feeling in my life came from living beneath the expectations of people who were only giving me overwhelming expectation just to make sure that they can get every drop of energy that I ever had before they were going to ever choose to validate me. And I know I've said that a couple times in this, but I think it's important. When I say those things multiple times, I think it's my brain or my ether wanting to tell you guys to like either write that down or remember that deeply. And the more time I spend alone, not only realizing I didn't want to be around a lot of these people, the more time I get to really explore not only who I am, but the people I do want to spend time around, the people that I'm inspired by, the people who I like to have conversations with, who I like to cry with, to struggle with, who are there for me in times where I need to be vulnerable, who support me in my dreams, no matter how delusional they are, because they know how much I will give to make sure that they happen, whether they succeed or they fail. It's like the world was just, especially right after coming out of my home, or the thing I thought was a home. The world was just so dark and bleak, and everybody was just so like shitty, and I didn't want to step outside, and I didn't want to express myself. I didn't trust myself. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't want to do anything, bro. Like I didn't even, like, why even start, knowing I was just going to fucking probably bomb because there's somebody else who actually had a family and some fucking financing to actually make it happen. Like, why would I even try this, that, blah, everything, just overwhelmed as fuck. But I'm realizing that was a breaking generational curses. That's an important aspect of the life that I live. I'm not going to say it's my purpose necessarily or it's the goal, but it's a very, very important part of my life. And I'm also realizing that in pursuing this journey, as scary as it has been, the amount of insight that I'm able to give people in my community who are struggling with the same things or attempting to seek the same kind of solutions is so beneficial. And that's a part of the calling that I came here to fulfill as well. So hopefully, I know these are kind of long-winded videos and it feels like you're kind of doing like showing up to class again, probably, but and I apologize for that because I hated school like a motherfucker too, bro. Only reason why I was good at it, like half decent at it, was because I was chasing the validation of my mom, who happened to be a teacher, bro. and my whole entire self-worth was literally like dug into, like embedded into my grades. But you know, it doesn't get more narcissistic than this. Imagine having a mom who's a special eds teacher, and all the times that like you are showing traits of neurodivergence or autism or ADHD, you get punished because that's you being a disobedient, disrespectful kid. But she goes to school to teach these kids every single day and just refuses to align the fact that it's like, hey, the you might be like, you might need help. You might not be doing this because like, hey, you might not be like failing tests or like missing assignments because you hate me and like you just want to see our family be sabotaged and some like random ridiculous event happen that gets us like split apart. Like maybe it's because you need help, and like I, being your parent and the adult in this situation, should probably help you, or else you're not gonna really have a future, because there are no adult autistic or neurodivergent accommodations. So you're really going to be fucked. But now I'm living a life on the other side where I've completely sabotaged my neurotypical wannabe mask and my desire to be accepted by any narcissist at all. I feel, to conclude the video, I feel as if I have done so much to just blow up any kind of connection to the narcissist in my old life, and to even be somebody who could be accepted by them. It used to torment me because I felt lonely, I felt isolated, I felt like I was the oddball out. But again, then I realized I don't want to be like you niggas. I don't want to sell out myself and my truth and my empathy and my passion for your guys' acceptance and validation. I don't want to cut my dreams down just to make you guys feel safe or secure. I don't want to stop sharing my truth just because you guys are insecure about it. I can't neglect the life that I actually lived, the trauma that I actually endured, bro, for the sake of making you feel good about yourself or making you feel like you are this amazing parent or partner that you think you are, when we both know the fuck you aren't. And it's just, and I think the weird thing is too, like when you go no contact, like as a black sheep, you were so embedded in the mask of the narcissist, in proving that the narcissist is this good person or could attract this good person, that there has to be all this talking that gets done behind the scenes to everybody to prove that like you're in the wrong and they're right, and you're the one that's, you know, crazy or psycho or this or that, to just further separate you from being able to have access to any accommodation or truly any credibility outside of that narcissist. And I realized, like, I don't even want to fight you guys. Like, you guys are sick in the head, like spiritually sick in the soul. And I don't even want to fight you guys. Like, genuinely, before I wanted you guys to see how much you hurted me, that's not a word. Before I wanted you guys to see how much you hurt me, that might have been my inner child talking. But now I'm realizing, like, I don't want to be around you. I'm not like you at all. I don't like, we don't love the same. We don't think the same. We don't believe the same. We don't act the same. We don't live the same whatsoever. And because of that, because of me not living like you guys, not willing to submit to the narcissistic psychosis that you guys perpetuate to make this family system seem like a legitimate family, you guys have decided to not only excommunicate me, but punish me from that system. That's my consequence. And I've decided that the only way I would have to continue to endure that kind of suffering is if I even desired to be a part of this narcissistic system that I came from. And I don't give a fuck about it. As an adult to an adult, speaking on behalf of a child who couldn't speak for himself, I don't respect people like you. And I would never trust, if my inner child was my actual child, I would never trust my child around people like you either. Because I know how you did me, so why the fuck would I even consider putting another child in your hands? And I know this may kind of be just me dragging on out here, but that's another reason. That's why I'm probably never going to have kids in this life. I'm going to get a vasectomy, and I'm just going to take beautiful women on vacations all over the world because, like, I feel like I've been a parent my whole entire life to people who didn't even fucking appreciate the fact that I was their emotional punching bag and just support system and mini slave, to get thrown into a world where there is no opportunity for people like me unless I truly decide to go blow some shit up, literally. But I'm on the path of doing that shit figuratively, so really, niggas can't stop me. Niggas can't stop what's already coming. Niggas can't stop what's already coming, so. 2025, if you here for these vlogs, bro, just put a thumbs up in the chat. Put something in the chat, and then everybody, whatever the first person emoji puts in, everybody go follow that shit. Because we're going up. Put a bat in the chat. Put a bat in the chat if you fuck with the Dark Wizard. Put a bat in the chat. I'm fucking with that. And my real name, Max. Shit. All right, well, hopefully that video did something, because I know I'm dragging this way too long. Way longer than it should go. Always know that I love you and I care about you, and I want the best for you. Nothing less and nothing more. Like, maybe a little bit more than that. So hopefully you can share the love. But other than that, thank you for being here. Me, that bird that was kicking in here, that crow that just went by. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself as we start this 2025. I know it's going to be scary, and it has already been scary for marginalized people all over the world, but understand that as long as we have ourselves, as long as we have each other, we're going to be all right. As long as we have ourselves, as long as we got each other, we're going to be all right. Keep believing. Keep the hope. And real shit, keep discovering who you are. Keep taking steps towards becoming the fullness of that in this life. Because at the end of the day, that's all we have, and that's all we're going to be able to take with us once we leave here. So you might as well do everything you can while you got it. All right, now, thank you for kicking it with me and staying and during that rant. I love you guys. Stay real, stay rocking. Stay rebel forever. I'll catch you later.